Check, 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 check. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay. Microphone check 1 2. What is this? The 5-foot assassin with the rough head business. Okay. Check, check, check. Yes, Tory. I've been trying to hit you up, baby. See how everything was going. You gotta hit me back though, bro. Hope everything's going all right. Keisha is on time. Look at this. All right, let me fix one thing, and then we're going to get on with this because this just continues to be the most bizarre case of two celebrities that I've ever seen. Ever. That I've ever seen. This is the most bizarre case I've ever seen. And for it to be two celebrities is absolutely bizarre to me. So now we have more developments, as if we couldn't get any weirder. We have more developments in the Tory Lanez assault of Meg Thee Stallion case. All right? Hold on. Let me fix this. Let me get my monetization and my advertisement right. You're not going to jip me in no money, honey. Hold on. So today, Tory Lanez was back in court. And he was in court, and the judge determined that with those last tweets during the last court case, during the last court date, the judge determined with those tweets that was seemingly directed at Megan Thee Stallion, that Tory Lanez was once again in violation of his court order and the order of protection. Now, this is the second time now. The first time he violated it was at the Rolling Loud event when he came on stage with the baby, right? Came on stage with the baby and ended up getting reported because he wasn't clear of 100 feet of Megan Thee Stallion. So that was the first time. Now here goes the second time, and it was the tweets from last month or from February, whenever this was, that was initiated by his boy, DJ Academics. We're going to get to Academics and why I posted the video that I posted. Because people are saying, oh, why are you saying that about academics? And I'll let you know why. Judge determined that he was in violation of the court order because he direct tweets seemingly directed at Megan Thee Stallion. Those tweets were academic tells no lies, right? When Ack was tweeting about the case. And then when Megan was saying, oh, so he didn't get caught in a lie, huh? Well, what's this? He came back and said, oh, I got caught smashing two friends. That's what I was apologizing for. But nice try though. So in between those two tweets and whatever other ones he had out there, the judge found him in violation of his court order, and this is his second offense. Now, well, why can Megan talk? Megan's not on trial. Megan's not on trial. And the rules are, and the law is, if you're the plaintiff or you're the victim, you're allowed to talk. Now, she can't say what's going on in the case. She can't say, oh, yeah, today in court. Because remember, she can talk that because she's not in court. Remember, it's the state versus Tory Lanez. Megan is really a spectator. That's why she's allowed to talk. So victims can talk. So when people want to ask me, well, why is it fair that Megan's allowed to talk? Well, that's why. All right. So, what's up, Big Mike? So here's the bottom line of what took place in court, and we're going to break it down to the simplest terms because nobody understands all that lawyer talk, right? In the simplified terms, DJ Academics made a big mistake on the Tory Lanez side because of his thirst to be first, as Denzel Washington called it. Because of his thirst to be first. Right? He put that out there. We're going to get into that, Luna. I'm going to get into what was said in court today. That's why I have a question mark there, because it was revealed just today. That came up in court. We'll get to that. DJ Academics released information about the DNA not being found on the gun. Okay? But what happened was he released that information before it was released in court. If DJ Academics just could have been patient, right? If he wasn't so thirsty to be first, right? if he wasn't so thirsty to be first, then he would not have put that information out. He would have waited until court was over and then discussed it. But you see, DJ Academics has to live up to this image that he's in the know, he's in the industry, he's got inside connections that nobody else has, right? So in order for him to do that, he's got to make sure he beats everybody to the punch. So he can say, I was first. Now, because he was so quick, that had not even been discussed in court, to the point where reporters from the Rolling Stone and reporters that were in court, they hadn't even heard about it yet. Nancy Dillon from Rolling Stone, she's usually covering this case. She wasn't there that time. And that's why she came back and said there was no discussion at all about DNA today. She hadn't even gotten the transcripts yet. Academics spilled the beans before it was discussed in court. So we're going to get to this about what he said today, because he's just now saying this now, see? Because what has happened is he's backed himself into a corner where he's probably going to get dragged into court to find out exactly how he knew that information. You see, this is what trying to be in the mix will get you. Instead of just sitting back and being an online journalist or a blogger or a YouTuber or vlogger, instead of being that, he wants people to think he's bigger than what he is. He wants people to think that he is a journalist and he has connections on the inside. Now, he does know some people at some of the record labels. He knows some of the people at the record labels. But the only way that DJ Academics will know anything of this case, he doesn't have any connections in the LAPD. So the only way that he would know this information is that if he knows someone inside the court, or he's getting it from Tory and Tory's attorneys. That's the only two ways. So now if he says he got it from Rock Nation, and Rock Nation went and told him, or a member from Rock Nation told him, there's no DNA found on the gun. Notice if they did tell him that, they didn't tell him it was inconclusive. They went and told him that no DNA was found purposely because they knew Academics would blab it. They knew Academics would blab it. Juicy mouth, show off, thirsty. They knew he would blab it. If he got it from Rock Nation. Now, he could just be trying to save face and not going to oust Tory and Tory's attorney. But if he got it from Rock Nation, right? If he goes on, if they subpoena him, which I have a feeling now they might, if they subpoena him, you have to ask, if he did get it from Rock Nation, why would someone from Rock Nation give him information that's kind of damaging to Meg's testimony, and Meg is their client? Unless you have some sort of mole in Rock Nation who's working for them but don't like Megan. and they're trying to give academics information. Maybe they like Tory or what have you. That's the only way I can see someone from Rock Nation giving him this information. Other than that, they set him up. That's my take. If it's not a mole who doesn't like Megan for real and who's just working for Rock Nation but don't really like them, if it's not a mole, then they purposely gave academics that information because they were just banking on him running his mouth. Now, if there is a mole inside Rock Nation that gave him this information and they bring him into court and he testifies someone from Rock Nation, well, guess what? Who? That's the next question. Who? Now you really open up a can of worms because you couldn't keep your mouth shut. Now you're going to have to tell them who from Rock Nation gave you that information. Now you got to snitch the person out, and then they're going to be dragged into court, and all of Rock Nation that they work for is going to know that they're a mole. So the next thing you do is you know they lost their job. So you're going to cost them their job, and they'll probably get dragged into court. I don't know, maybe because of the sun. I'm not sure. Hold on. Let me just put up a green screen. Hold on a second. I think because the sun is shining in through my crib. Hold on a second. So, DJ Academics, I'm sure he has a lawyer. If he don't, he better get one. Because he's making himself a part of this case, and he really shouldn't be. I don't think no. I never thought that Tory was going to do jail time. However, he might end up doing jail time for violating this court order again if he doesn't know how to keep his mouth shut. What happened is Tory Lanez got very lucky today in court because the judge, the DA, wanted Tory locked up until September. They argued with the judge and they said, this is his second time in 9 months violating a court order. He needs to be locked up until trial, or his bond should be increased to $5 million. Luckily for Tory, the judge declined that. The judge denied that request. The fragments and all that are missing. But remember something, Bobby. The DA said We don't need the fragments. We feel as though we have enough evidence and testimony and phone records. They feel as though they have enough circumstantial evidence to even override the fragments missing. Because if they didn't, they would have dropped the case. So the DA has something. It must be something on that. It must be something on that recorded phone call, allegedly, between Kelsey and Tory, and whatever Tory may have said to Megan. I think that's all he said in the text. I don't know if he talked to Megan on the phone. But if they somehow have Tory recorded begging Kelsey not to talk, maybe that's their smoking gun. They're not going to bring that out right now. They're going to hold that for trial. So there's something that the DA has that makes them feel as though they have a good case. And the judge heard all this evidence. If they didn't feel as though they had enough to possibly go to trial, they would have threw it out before they even set a trial date. We don't know yet, Luna. We don't know. That might be something that they have. But you see, they're not going to show their hand in pretrial. You see what I'm saying? They're not going to show their hand in pretrial. They're going to wait to see if it goes to trial. Then they're going to they're going to show their hand. It's like poker. You're not going to show your hand right away. You're going to wait to see what everyone else got. Right? So you're going to wait to see what everyone else got. And then you're going to play your hand when necessary. So in court today, let me read exactly what was sent to me. All right. So, and then I'm going to play to you what Lawyers for Workers had to say. Let me see if I can play this and y'all can hear it.
Update on the Tory Lanez case. He was cuffed and taken into custody when he went into court today, but I expect he's going to be released shortly. All he has to do is post an increased bond. The judge basically said, I'm upping the bond to $350,000, so they put the cuffs on him, took him in custody. The reason why the judge upped the bond, the judge ordered that he not have any contact with Meg Thee Stallion, and the prosecutors argued that some of Tory's tweets were actually directed at Megan and thus a violation of the order. The judge agreed. She upped the bond. He's in custody. Update on the Tory Lanez case. He was cuffed and taken into custody when he went into court today, but I expect he's going to be released shortly. All he has to do is post an increased bond. The judge basically said, I'm upping the bond to $350,000, so they put the cuffs on him, took him in custody. The reason why the judge upped the bond, the judge ordered that he not have any contact with Meg Thee Stallion, and the prosecutors argued that some of Tory's tweets
can you guys hear that?
Directed at Megan and thus a violation of the order. The judge agreed. She upped the bond. He's in custody.
So that was that one. Now, Lawyers for Workers, and shout out to him, came back with another update, and this was more bizarre than anything we've heard, because this is the first time that we've heard this. This is what Lawyers for Workers said on his second update.
Two extremely interesting facts that came out about the Tory Lanez case. First, the police have admitted into evidence, they've testified that the other woman who was involved here, they tested her hand for gunpowder shot residue, and she had gunpowder residue on it, suggesting she may have been the shooter. Number two, there was an eyewitness, somebody just like a third party who saw this whole thing, and he said, I saw two men and another woman beating on Meg. As for who pulled the trigger, he said, I don't know, but I did see the muzzle flash go off, and the other woman was the one closest to the muzzle flash.
Again,
two extremely interesting facts that came out about the Tory Lanez case. First, the police have admitted into evidence, they've testified that the other woman who was involved here, they tested her hand for gunpowder shot residue, and she had gunpowder residue on it, suggesting she may have been the shooter. Number two, there was an eyewitness, somebody just like a third party who saw this whole thing, and he said, I saw two men and another woman beating on Meg. As for who pulled the trigger, he said, I don't know, but I did see the muzzle flash go off, and the other woman was the one closest to the muzzle flash.
Okay, so
interesting facts that came out about
let's go over that. Let's go over that. Lawyers for Workers apparently have the transcripts or what have you. In court, what's up, Lively? In court, it was discussed. Is Tory still in here? Not Tory Lanez, but my Tory. It was discussed that there is a eyewitness, a third-party eyewitness. Now, remember, in the beginning, there was rumors of an eyewitness. Remember that. The eyewitness said that they witnessed two men and a woman beating on Megan. Now, this is what the eyewitness says. Two men and a woman beating on Megan. According to his witness, they looked as though they were trying to kill Megan. And then he said, the witness said, I don't know whether it said it was a man or woman. The witness said they witnessed the gun going off, but the flash being closer to Kelsey. This is the first time. Megan didn't even mention this. Where did this testimony come from? Where did this testimony come from? Who is this person? They said it's a third-party person that just happened to see the whole thing. So it's one of those people. It's one of those hide your kid, hide your wife people. I'm calling bullshit on it right now. I'm calling bullshit on it because Megan would have said, then they started jumping me. Because she's still the victim. Because, if the gunshot went off and shot at Megan, which the gun obviously went off because they're saying they found gunpowder residue on Kelsey. So with all of these things, there's a couple of things we can throw out. That we can finally throw out. And what are those things? See, a case like this is going to come down to process of elimination. Let's see what we can eliminate. We can eliminate that she shot herself. Okay? We can eliminate that she shot herself. Let's please eliminate that. We can also eliminate that she didn't get shot or shot at. She definitely got shot at. And something, whether it ricocheted off the ground and the fragments went into her foot, or it ricocheted off the ground, hit a bottle, the bottle exploded, and the glass went into her foot, it sounds far-fetched, but anything is possible if magic made it. Maybe the person shot at her, shot at the ground. Maybe it ricocheted off the ground, hit a bottle, and the glass exploded in Megan's foot. But it was caused by the gunshot. Like I said, far-fetched, but anything's possible if magic made it. So we know this. Megan Thee Stallion got shot, folks. You can tell it was a miracle. How? But how? Because she was twerking 2 weeks later. Listen, I don't know how it didn't break her tendon or break her bone. And I don't know how she was twerking 2 weeks later. Maybe she's a fast healer. But this testimony, all of these testimonies have one thing in common. They're saying a gun went off. Okay? They're saying a gun went off. That's what the one thing this testimony, all of these testimonies have in common. The police came because they got a call that said shots fired. So it's obviously for people saying she never got shot. A gun went off. That's why the police initially came. Okay? Right, but it doesn't matter if she got grazed. If she got shot, she got shot. It don't matter whether it was grazed. It don't matter if it was glazed. It don't matter if it was hazed. If someone shot a gun and a bullet came out of the chamber and was headed towards Megan Thee Stallion, I don't care if it hit the ground first and hit something, and then that object hit Megan Thee Stallion. She still got shot at. And she still got shot. So that's why this whole thing about getting jumped, I'm calling bullshit. I think this is a person that sees an opportunity to get into the mix and go viral and see, what happened was I was at McDonald's. What happened? See, I was going into McDonald's to get a Big Mac, right? And I was eating on the Big Mac, and then I looked up, they're just somebody that's trying to go hide your kids, hide your wife. So my theory on this newly found evidence about getting jumped, I don't believe that person. And even Stogner, who's one of the police people on the case, they questioned this testimony from this witness. Another thing that Stogner said, and Stogner is one of the police officers, they said it is possible, and the judge agreed, that gun residue can get transferred to another party if they are within the vicinity. Right? If they're within the vicinity. Because the judge knows that that's a possibility is the reason why this case is still going. because people wanted to ask. They said, well, Heaven, if there was no residue found on Tory, why don't they throw the case out? Because it is still a possibility that the gun residue got transferred over to Kelsey if she was right up on Tory, or if both of them was fighting for the gun. It is possible. That's the reason why this case has not been thrown out. Okay? Well, Kelsey isn't there right now because it's just pre-trial. But if it goes to trial, trust me, she will be called in the court. Megan Thee Stallion will be called in the court. The security guard will be called in the court. Hell, Kylie Jenner might even be called in the court. But the only reason that they will call Kylie into court is to try to determine whether Tory was angry at her house, how drunk they were, if Megan may have threatened her or seemed mad. So if they subpoena Kylie Jenner, it's only going to be for that. They're going to want to find out, just tell me how these two were interacting at your house. Did you know they were in an intimate relationship? Did Miss Pete ever tell you that her and Tory was in an intimate relationship? How did Miss Pete, was this your first time meeting Mr. Peterson? Yeah. I mean, I knew of him, and there were some people around that knew him in my circle, but I had never met him. So this was your first time meeting Mr. Pete? Yes. Was this your first time meeting, Mr. Peterson? It's so funny, Peterson and Pete. Was this your first time meeting Miss Pete, Mrs. Jenner? Not really. I was in the room with her on another occasion. We were discussing a music video. So, and I knew I was going to be working with her on a music video. So I had seen her before. I had met her before, and that's how she got the invite. Did Miss Pete introduce Mr. Peterson as her boyfriend? No. She was saying they're friends. Or that was never really discussed. Did you feel as though Mr. Peterson and Mrs. Pete was involved in anything more than a friendship while they were there? These are going to be the type of questions that they ask Kylie Jenner. Now, the interesting thing is going to be who calls her as their witness. So what went on in that house is going to determine whether the DA or whether Tory's lawyer calls Kylie Jenner. And only those two know what went on in that house. You see? So the lawyer is going to say, do you think Kylie would be a good witness for us? Will she be able to testify? Yeah, Megan, she seemed upset. She started cursing, or she cursed at me, or she called me a bitch. If those things happened, Tory's lawyer is going to call Kylie. If Tory started flirting with Kylie, made her uncomfortable, and she was like, look, you guys got to go, whatever. or both of them were over intoxicated at her house, and they started arguing, and she said, I made them leave because they got belligerent and they both started arguing. If that's how it went down, Tory's lawyer is not going to call Kylie, but the DA might. Kylie has nothing to do with the gunshots outside because it did not take place on her premises. So as far as the gunshots go, they may ask her, did you go outside? She'll probably say, no, I was inside the whole entire time. Do you know what type of car Mr. Peterson was driving? She may say, I may have looked out and noticed it was an SUV or what have you. Or my security let me know because, everybody that comes on the premises, they have to check their car and give their license plate, which I'm sure they do. So my security was aware of what kind of car it was. Did your security look inside the car? No. So if the security didn't look inside, was he aware if Mr. Peterson had a gun on him or not? No, he definitely didn't have one on him in my house. He definitely would not have been able to have one in my house. I have no idea of knowing what was in his car. No further questions. They're not going to be able to question her about what happened later on. They could call and say, did Miss Pete contact you after she left? Nope, that was the last time I saw her or heard from her. So anything that happened after they pulled, they'll ask her, around what time did they leave your premises? Do you know if they were sitting outside your home arguing? Those are the type of questions they're going to ask her. As far as the gunshot, she had absolutely nothing to do with it because it was 15 minutes or so from her house. Everything happened about 15 minutes, some miles away from Kylie's house. Kylie lives in Holbury Hills. This happened, I believe, in Hollywood Hills. And Kylie lives in Holbury Hills. And this happened in Hollywood Hills. So this is like 15, 20 minutes away from Kylie's house. Right, to a resident driveway. To a resident driveway. Remember, they said this happened on Canyon. That's nowhere near Kylie's house. So they said she went crawling into a resident driveway. Thank you, Chunky. Y'all hit the like button. Y'all are getting an exclusive take here, a fresh take. I'm not on anybody's side. I'm trying to break down what happened in court today, and we're breaking it down exactly what happened in court today and exactly what it means. Where I said on my video that DJ Academics caused Tory Lanez to be arrested, he did. You want to know why he did? Because he opened his mouth too soon and spoke about what happened in court before it happened. If he would have never done that and just would have been reported on it like everyone else once they got the report, and he wasn't so thirsty to be first, none of this would have happened. He wouldn't be on the radar. He'd be just like Mob Radio. He'd be just like Ebro or Nancy Dillon or whoever else is reporting. He would be just like them. But because he comes out and gives this information that Nancy Dillon didn't even know, that's going to make it seem like he is talking to Tory and Tory's attorneys. And it's going to make it seem like Tory's attorney and Tory is feeding him this information so they know he has a big platform. They know he's anti-Meg. They know that most of his watchers are anti-Meg. And if he is a big platform, he's a big voice in hip-hop. If DJ Academics can get that out there to the masses, that's going to get a head start, okay? That's going to get a head start on what's happening in court. And then that way he has a way of manipulating his audience and manipulating the general public. He just said that today, though. That's my point. He said today, I got it from Rock Nation. He didn't say that before. Thank you, Tory, baby. I appreciate it. Ad got his IG taken down, but now it's back up. Now we're going to see how he moves now, because they've already proven that he got his IG taken down, right? So we're going to see how he moves now. He's over on Twitter saying he got it from Rock Nation. Well, what he don't know is Jack Dorsey owns Twitter, okay? That's Jay-Z's boy. If he ain't careful, he's going to get his Twitter taken too. But that's neither here nor there. That's his issue. By Academics open up his mouth prior to everyone else knowing, he made it seem as though he has some sort of inside connection what's going on in court. Now, here's where I say Tory needs to get a new lawyer. And everybody say, oh, you're crazy. Let me tell you something. The reason why this lawyer keeps pushing these dates back, the more she pushes it back, Tory has to hire her for another day. Or however many days that she works on this case, coming up to trial, Tory's got to pay her. This is an old attorney trick. This is an old attorney trick. Where you postpone as long as possible. How does that hurt the lawyer? How does that hurt the lawyer? Let's not forget, Miss Holly is a former lawyer of the Kardashians. Former. If you notice, she is no longer the Kardashians' attorney. So she's the former attorney for a reason. Because if she was that good and they found out what she was doing, her business was practical, they'd still have her hired. This lawyer, I don't even know how Tory Lanez is affording this lawyer. I don't know whether maybe he's smashing. Who knows? But Tory is kicking out a lot of money because Attorney Holly, she was a part of the Dream Team when she was young. She was a part of the Dream Team that convicted, that got O.J. Simpson off. So she's been around. Is she a good lawyer? She's very good. She's very good at what she does. However, why haven't she told Tory to stop talking to academics? Why haven't she told Tory to stay off social media until this is over? She went to the judge and she tried to get his gag order lifted. The judge denied it. The moment that she could not get his gag order lifted, she should have told him, Tory, you're going to have to stay off social media unless you are just strictly promoting your music. If you're not promoting your music, you're going to have to get off social media. Hold on, because it seems to be stopping. His lawyer should have told him that. Okay, so I don't know whether he shot her or not. Like I said, I'm not going to be that guy like everyone else who's out here saying he shot her. He didn't shoot her. She's lying. He shot her. He didn't shoot her. I knew he was innocent. Well, if you knew he was innocent, the judge don't know it. So for anybody saying, I knew he was innocent, well, obviously the judge don't know it, or else the judge would throw it out. So there's something that the DA has, or something that they feel as though they have, that's going to be enough, right, to prove upon reasonable doubt that Tory Lanez did it. That's the reason why they have not thrown it out. Thank you for the super chat. That's the reason why they have not thrown it out. So if everyone asking, well, if he was guilty, he'd be in jail. But you got to go through a trial. You got to go through a trial. He did get arrested. He got arrested for possession of the handgun. Then he got arrested and charged for shooting her. He got off on bail. So then you have to go through a trial like everyone else. They're not just going to say, oh, yeah, there's enough evidence here. You got to go through trial. Look at all the evidence they had against O.J. Simpson. They had way more than enough evidence to just put him in jail and leave him in there. Right? But then a trial came. And Johnny Cochran started releasing some of the things that he had in his back pocket. He didn't tell them in pre-trial that he had a glove. He didn't tell them in pre-trial that there was a racist cop that planted the glove. They had all that in their back pocket waiting for trial. We don't know whether the gun was registered to his bodyguard. That's never been discussed. That's never been discussed. All they know is he had an unregistered firearm. And where's this bodyguard? Come trial, if that bodyguard was on the scene, he's going to have to testify too. He's got to testify too. Let's do something here. My green screen is probably throwing everybody off, right? Hold on. All right, so if I move, I'm going to move now. I'm going to move my spot in my location. All right, let's see. Well, I don't. Well, Bobby, I don't remember that. I don't remember that. So I moved my location in my house now. So, all right. Thank you always. So this whole thing, to me, was caused by the thirst of DJ academics. People want to continue to put it on Megan, but if he never said anything to Megan, she would have never started talking. Remember, Megan wasn't saying anything. And then DJ Academics came out with that information, and that's when she said, boy, stop lying. Court ain't even start yet. Right? She wasn't in court, so she wasn't going to say anything. But then Academics came with information. Tory started talking about, King Ding-a-ling or whatever he said caused the fight. I was just doing because I got caught. Nice try. Saying all these things. Act is not lying. But the lawyer, Tory's lawyer, basically said Academics didn't get it from them because he didn't even tweet the right information. Tory's lawyer said Academics is unreliable. His platform is unreliable. So now here you are trying to cape for Tory, and his lawyer is pretty much shitting on you. His lawyer said pretty much, his platform is mostly unreliable. And if he would have saw the documentation that we had, he would have knew that it came back inconclusive. Yeah, Tory said Act wasn't lying. He said Act told no lies. That's what he said. But Tory's lawyer came and said something a little different. Tory's lawyer said no, he was incorrect. His tweet was incorrect because it didn't come back that he had no DNA on him. It came back inconclusive. I said she responded to Academics first. The first thing she responded to was Academics about you're lying on your platform because there was no court yet. The court hadn't started yet. She replied to Academics first. She didn't reply to Tory until she said, so I'm lying? So he's not lying? What about these text messages? She had already posted to Academics about there was no court yet. My point is, she would have never responded to anyone if DJ Academics didn't open his mouth. That's my point. During these other court cases, Megan has not said anything. During the last court date, Megan hadn't said anything. This is his 6th time back in court since the incident? What's up, Joseph? Correct. That's what I know, Big Mike. I know what I'm talking about. She responded to Academics first. If Academics had just sat there and ate his Big Mac and mind his business and stop trying to be in the mix, stop trying to be bigger than what you are, stop trying to make it seem as though you know more than everyone else, when you can simply take the Joe Budden route. Joe Budden simply said, people in the industry know what happened. And I feel as though Meg, the word's starting to get around now that what went down with Tory. I think the industry now knows what happened because people who wasn't fucking with Tory before, they're fucking with him now. So I think the industry knows what happened. He could have took that approach, but that wasn't good enough for academics. You see, it's not good enough for academics to be like everyone else. He doesn't want to be like everyone else. He puts himself up here and all of the other YouTubers and bloggers down here. He wants people to know he's makes the most money. He gets paid the most. Rappers need him. Record labels call him to post stuff, which is all probably true. But bruh, you don't know why these celebrities are unfollowing Megan. They didn't tell you. You supposed to be so cool with Drake. Drake ain't gonna tell you why he unfollowed Megan. So stop trying. If academics don't stop trying to be bigger than everyone else and just go with the flow and cover it as it unfolds, he could get Tory Lanez in a world of trouble. In a world of trouble. Thank you, Joseph Tanner. Tory's lawyer, if she was really this great lawyer, like they said, number one, she would still be the Kardashian lawyers. That's the first thing. And number two, she would be telling him, stay off social media, dude. Let us handle this. Because you being on social media, all you're doing, you've now violated 2 orders. You violated 2 orders. And he's very lucky that that judge did not say, you know what? You don't believe fat meat greasy. So what we're going to do is put your ass in jail until the trial. That way you can't say nothing else. He's very lucky that he had a lenient judge. DJ Academics, as I said, and people will talk about, oh, how can you say that? When all of those, what's that thing called? Guest House or whatever the heck it's called. When all of those rappers from Chicago came and attacked him during Guest House or whatever that damn app is called, they all said, bruh, you have played a part in a lot of dead drill rappers. You've played a part in a lot of rappers going to jail. Because you went and struck the match. You put drill music in Chicago, what's happening behind the scenes and in the streets, you brought that to the public. And you started gassing up rivalries. You started help create rivalries between rappers and between gang members. To the point where they were trying to see each other. You did that by putting it on your platform. So he can say he had nothing to do with all he wants. But when those Chicago rappers was coming at him on Guest House, that's why he shut up. Because he knows it's true. He got away with it with 6ix9ine. He got away with it with 6ix9ine. He's trying his best to be involved in this court case, and guess what? He's going to get his wish if he keeps fooling around. Now you done put out there, Rock Nation gave that information. Don't you think people sent that to Rock Nation? You don't think people sent that to Rock Nation? And Tory knows that academics had something to do with before him getting put in jail, and he still messes with academics. Why? Because he knows academics is influential. He knows he's right now the voice of this generation of hip-hop. It's no longer Charlemagne. Charlemagne may have been the last generation, but now DJ Academics is more like this generation of hip-hop's voice. And Tory knows that. And Tory knows that it's going to probably come down to a he say, she say. And who does the jury believe? So he's trying to get the court of public opinion on his side. But the court of public opinion, sir, is not going to keep you out of jail. You think those jurors are going to care that people are saying, yeah, we're on Tory's side. Meg's a liar. Free Tory. They're not going to care. They're not going to care. A big part of determining what happened, and you can always tell that what the big part is, because everyone leaves it out. Everyone leaves it out. So, here's the big question, right? Here's the big question. And it was more than Tory was flirting with Kylie, because Tory put that on his record. Why is it that no one, Tory, Megan said it's irrelevant, and Kelsey said, I don't want to talk about it? Why is no one discussing what they were all fighting about? Remember, Megan's first statement was, all four of us fighting. Why is the bodyguard fighting? Why is the bodyguard fighting? Does anybody care to think about that, or they're just too concerned about calling Megan a liar? And whenever they talk about, well, what were y'all fighting over in the car? He said that, well, I was fighting because I was jealous of Kylie. No, I wasn't. Megan says they wasn't fighting over Kylie in the car. Tory won't discuss what they were fighting over in the car. Kelsey won't discuss what they were fighting over in the car. So that fight in the car is going to determine what happened. Whatever that fight, whatever took place in the car, and whatever they were fighting over in the car is going to determine what really happened. And that's the reason why no one wants to mention, oh, it's irrelevant what we were fighting over. That's what Megan said. Tory wants to talk about what happened inside Kylie Jenner's house, what happened inside Jordan Wood's house. He want to talk about everything except what they were fighting over. There's a reason why they're omitting this fight in the car. Kelsey did not say what they were fighting over in the car. She never said what the argument was about. No, she didn't. If Kelsey diss song told it, why are they now blaming Kelsey? If Kelsey, well, remember, Tory had how long before they put them charges on him? Tory had 2 weeks, didn't he? They didn't put a gag on him right away. Tory could have came out the moment this happened and said what happened. He had an opportunity. Right, they said that in court. They said that in court. That's what Tory's lawyer is saying. That's what Tory's lawyer is saying. But Tory and Kelsey and Megan didn't say that before. And they did not put a gag order on Tory right away. It wasn't until Megan came out and accused him of shooting her. That was 14 days. That was 14 days. Remember, the incident happened, I believe, on the 12th or the 13th. Megan didn't come out on that live until July 27th. That was 14 days later. He had an opportunity until then to say something. Oh well, if he listened to Rock Nation, that's on him. That's on him. If he knew he was innocent, why did he say, "Nah, I'm clearing my name"? Forget what y'all said. I'm clearing my name. She said on the live that Tory shot me. She wasn't going to say anything, but she said Tory and Tory's publicist was lying. You were trying to cover up a narrative online. But now I'm going to tell it. You shot me. Once again, a situation of Tory not being able to keep quiet. Because if he would have never opened his mouth, right? If he would have never opened his mouth and would have sat there quietly and not said nothing, never responded when people were accusing him, if he just had said, "I'm going to wait until it's all over. I'm not speaking by the orders of my attorney. I'm not speaking." No, because when she got on live, she said, "You shot me," and then you got your publicist and so to like. That's what she said on live. Right? So apparently she had saw or heard something from his publicist, his management, his whatever, behind the scenes. We don't know what was going on behind the scenes. She said, you shot me. I forgot exactly what she said. And she said, and you got your publicist to what? Lie or whatever the case she said. Whatever the case she said. But there's no need of going back to that. That's long gone. What we're dealing with right now is, for some reason, if it was all about, oh, they found out he was cheating, but he said that kind of on his album. He said on his album that him and Kelsey kind of had something. He said it wasn't really much. That's the reason why the lawyer, if you noticed, one thing that y'all didn't bring up, do you notice that Tory's lawyer is trying to frame Kelsey as this person who was angry, upset, and found out that Megan was smashing Tory? Because she's trying to get that in people's heads that she was the aggressive one. Notice she's saying Tory's Megan's friend Kelsey, who had a romantic interest in Tory. They didn't say that Tory had a romantic interest in her. They didn't say that Tory was in an interrelationship with her. The lawyer said she had a romantic interest in Tory. And she found out from Tory on that day that he was in an intimate relationship with Megan P. But he's saying they're like friends, but now he's also saying that he smashed them both. But he tried to make Kelsey seem like not a big deal on the album. So, of course, once again, the lawyer comes out and kind of blames Kelsey. And Kelsey, just like clockwork, runs the social media and says, don't be bringing that nonsense to my timeline. Nonsense? So this is nonsense too? Nobody's ever going to admit the truth. Not one person has said, you know what? You got me. That's true. Tory came out and said, Kelsey didn't do it. But now his lawyer is saying, suggesting that Kelsey did do it. So if he was with Kelsey first, why was he apologizing okay, perfect. Leave that there. Perfect, as Gabriel Union says. Megan knew about Kelsey. He was with Kelsey first. So then why in that text message was he apologizing to Megan? If Megan knew that he was already with Kelsey, How could he be apologizing for getting caught being with Kelsey if Megan already knew he was with Kelsey? So then what was that apology for? What's up, Wilfredo? Remember, he's apologizing to Megan. I'm sorry it happened. I was too drunk. Huh? What do you mean you was too drunk? You wasn't fucking Kelsey that night. You wasn't fucking Kelsey that night. So what do you mean you were too drunk? No, I believe Kelsey probably thought, she probably noticed it. But remember, she was home with COVID during that time. Now, I don't know how you cannot think when Megan's got her butt pressed up on Tory's penis. I don't know how any woman can think that they weren't messing around. Then they're on live together. He's up over her shoulder. They looking like they're in the same place, looking real cozy when Kelsey's home. So I don't know how Kelsey did not think that Megan and Tory had something going on. He's apologizing for trying to get with Kylie? I was too drunk. So that's what that apology was for? That's not what he said. He said, I was with two girls and I got caught. That's what my apology was for. He didn't say, I was apologizing for flirting with Kylie. That's worth a text message? Nah. 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 He's got one thing to say, and he's going to text her, I'm sorry for flirting with Kylie. Nah. I'm sorry, what happened. I was too drunk. But when he came on, so then why didn't Tory say, girl, please, I was apologizing for flirting with Kylie when we were there together? Why didn't he say that? Why did he say, you know what, you know damn well I was apologizing for flirting with Kylie? He said he was apologizing for getting caught smashing two women. He said, I was messing with two best friends and I got caught. That's what my apology was for. If he said that on Twitter, why wouldn't he just say, you know good and damn well I was apologizing for flirting with Kylie? Because that doesn't make sense if he was apologizing for getting caught and saying, I was too drunk. What, you was too drunk the night you fucked Kelsey? Why are you apologizing for that now? That happened a long time ago. Sounds like it was something that happened that night. It never should have happened. It's no excuse. Him fighting with Kylie didn't cause Megan to get shot. Yeah, he started flirting with Kylie. Now, he didn't say they got kicked out. According to his song, she left and was mad that he was flirting with Kylie. That's kind of when Kelsey seen her. We can at least put that much together. Kelsey probably saw her and was like, wait a minute. Why are you so upset? Kelsey may have even went to him and was like, why are you flirting with Kylie? Or was Kelsey just mad with Megan because according to Tory's lawyer, Kelsey and Tory didn't have anything going on. She was just had a romantic interest in Tory. When she found out that Megan was intimately involved with Tory. But we'll find out in September. But I'm going to stay exactly on what I said. Ever since this case started, I came out and said, we're never going to know what really happened. We're never going to know what really happened. Because it's going to be a he say, she say case. And if they don't have enough evidence to convict Tory, they're going to say the hospital, there were bullet fragments, the hospital lost it. And they probably caused us a conviction. So that way Megan doesn't look like she's lying. Right? Megan doesn't look like she's lying. It's going to look like negligence on the part of the hospital because they initially said they had bullet fragments. That's what they initially said. Bullet fragments was removed from her feet. Fragments and the other word they use. Moved from her heel. Now she can blame them. Well, now the DA can say it's because we didn't have the bullet fragments. They turned up missing. It's the reason why we weren't able to get a conviction. And then what's going to happen is they're going to gag Tory. They're going to gag Tory and anybody that was involved in the case from saying what happened. And the only people that know what happened are people in the courtroom. They're all going to be gagged. They're not going to be able to tell you. That way, Tory doesn't go to jail and Megan don't look like a liar. Because she's going to say, I kept my same story the whole entire time. And that's how it's going to end. But that's not even going to happen. The trial starts in September. We don't know how long that trial's going to go. It may not be until November until we get a verdict. Well, all we can do is speculate. That's what I'm saying. We don't know that. We don't know that for a fact. We can't. You're just taking Tory's word. But as we see in this case, you can't take anybody's word. So that's just speculation. Oh, Tory's probably just. We can't go on probablys. We can't go on maybes. That's all just speculation. The same way how I just made the case for him not apologizing for that. If he was just apologizing for flirting with Kylie, why did he say that? Why would he say he was apologizing for something else? That doesn't make a lot of sense. I could see if he says if he was covering up apologizing for shooting her or apologizing for something happening. But if he was apologizing for flirting with Kylie, why didn't he just say that instead of saying, I was apologizing because I got caught smashing two friends? So we can speculate. Y'all can speculate all you want. You can say what he probably meant. We can't talk for that man. We can't decide what happened just because we want to come to a scenario and because we want it to be over or because we're pulling for one side more than the other. Not going to be able to create something and say, yeah, that's what happened. You gotta wait. You gotta wait. I said they would drag it until the point where nobody cares. I also been saying that we'll never find out what happened. We'll never find out what truly happened until somebody writes a book 20, 30 years from now. So it is what it is. Anyway, that's it, y'all. This thing is crazy. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Don't forget to check me out. I'll be coming with some more videos later today. It's your boy Heaven Hollywood. There was one other thing I wanted to say. I wanted to address one more thing, but I forgot. But be on the lookout for DJ Academics getting some sort of subpoena. Once you keep talking, he's going to get subpoenaed. Be on the lookout for that. Keep running your mouth, Act.